Hello, my name is Brian Ducat, product owner for the 2D 3D milling team. Mastercam 2018 brings some exciting new features for your milling operations. Variable stock to leave allows you to adjust a single operation in ways that previously needed multiple operations. You can now leave different amounts of stock on selected geometry, both machining and avoidance. Undercut machining now supports a wider array of tools, yields cleaner results, and increases the power of your surface finish contour and surface rough pocket operations. Associative linking allows you to maintain your linking parameters when the geometry changes without having to adjust values. Arc feed rate adjustments control speed at the edge of the tool on circular cuts rather than controlling the speed at the center of the tool. These items provide more control, fewer operations, and greater efficiency for your 2D, 3D milling operations.
Mastercam 2018 now includes parameters for adjusting feed rates and arc moves in 2D contour and slot mill toolpaths and 3D waterline toolpaths. You will find these new parameters on the arc filter tolerance page. The arc feed rate adjustments are based on the linear feed rate entered on the tool page and the size of the tool. Mastercam uses industry standard formulas to calculate the optimum feed rate for each arc move, factoring in the current motion's arc radius and cutter size. As the tool moves through relatively small inside arcs, the perimeter of the tool is moving through the material faster than the center of the tool. Now you can slow it down for safer and more efficient material removal. As the tool moves through outside arcs, the perimeter of the cutter is moving through the material slower than the center of the tool, which results in decreased chip load on the tool. Now you can speed it up to maintain a steady chip load. Select Override Arc Feed Rate and enter a max OD increase of 20%. Here you can see Mastercam increasing the feed rate for this outside arc from 50 to 60. In Mastercam 2017, you would have to manually calculate the adjusted feed rate for each of the arcs. If the differences were substantial, you would need to create more than one contour toolpath so you could enter separate feed rates. Now, in a single contour toolpath for all arcs in your chains, Mastercam uses your settings to optimally decrease the feed rate for inside arcs and increase the feed rate for outside arcs. With Mastercam 2018, you can now use associative points to program your linking moves for 2D toolpaths. For all types of linking moves, associative points radio buttons and select and deselect buttons have been added to the linking parameters page. This toolpath was created in Mastercam 2017. Edit the linking moves to take advantage of the new associative points. The tool should retract to 15 mm above the point on this model. Set retract to 15 mm and make it associative to this point. Feed plane will stay incremental, but the top of stock should be associative and always 13.7 mm relative to the selected point. And depth should always be associative to a point. Regenerate the toolpath and examine the values just programmed. Retract is at 15, top of stock is at 13.7, and depth is at 0. Now use the Model Prep Move function to make some changes to the model. First, select the face where the associative point for depth was set, and move it up in Z by 5 mm. Notice that the changes mark the toolpath as dirty. Regenerate the toolpath and examine the results. The position of the associative points changed when the model was edited, but the linking moves are still at heights programmed relative to the new positions. With Mastercam 2018, you can now define the depth cut direction for 2D mill toolpaths. Contour toolpaths also support undercuts when using undercutting tools such as a slot mill or lollipop cutter. Notice how the slot mill tool is able to machine the wall using just a contour toolpath. On the Depth Cuts page, there are new depth cut direction settings for step up and step down, and an undercut option. Mastercam uses the existing top of stock and depth values set in the linking parameters page when creating undercuts. Top is still top and bottom is still bottom. There is no need to flip these settings when undercutting. When we backplot the part, you can see the toolpath motion as it steps up from the bottom of the stock, adjusting each cut to the shape of the cutter. If you change the depth cut direction to step down, here is the resulting toolpath. Now the toolpath is stepping down, still respecting the tool shape. The undercut option only affects the tool motion when a tool capable of undercutting is selected. This allows for proper compensation of the undercut. Mastercam 2018 adds many new options to the Multipasses page for 2D mill toolpaths. Multipasses are cuts that Mastercam makes in the X and Y axes between Z-depth cuts. These new settings give you tighter control over your cut order, cut direction, and roughing, finishing, and spring passes. You can now add spring passes to your multi-pass finish cuts. Spring passes create additional finish cuts with a spacing of 0 between passes. This technique can be used for parts with thin material that may have flexed away from the tool during previous passes. Prior to Mastercam 2018, you had only two options for multi-pass finish cuts: all depths or final depth. Now you can add or remove finish cuts based on the number of rough depth cuts specified on the Depth Cuts page. Using the values shown, Mastercam creates a finish pass at all depth cuts and adds two evenly spaced passes between the depth cuts. In the image shown, red lines represent depth cuts and blue lines are multi-pass finish passes. Using the values in this example, Mastercam adds a finish pass only at every second depth cut. A multi-pass finish pass is always added to the last depth cut. By selecting Machine Finish Passes after roughing all contours, the toolpath will complete all multi-pass rough cuts and all depth cuts before starting the multi-pass finish passes. In Mastercam 2017, all multi-passes were ordered by contour, meaning all multi-passes were completed for one chain before moving on to the next. In Mastercam 2018, a new bypass option was added. When set to bypass, Mastercam will complete one multi-pass for all chains before beginning the next multi-pass. This next change applies only to contour toolpaths. In Mastercam 2017, cut direction for rough multi-passes was set to one way. In Mastercam 2018, you can now choose zigzag for multi-pass rough pass cut direction. Zigzag will alternate the cut direction between climb and conventional. Combinations of these settings allow you to produce many different types of toolpath motion, giving you greater control of your tool motion. Mastercam 2018 introduces changes that streamline your programming workflow for mill 3D high-speed toolpaths. You will enjoy greater flexibility and control when defining which geometry to machine and which geometry to avoid. For each geometry group you create, you can assign variable stock-to-leave values on its walls and floors. The first thing you will notice when you select any of Mastercam's 3D high-speed surface roughing or finishing toolpaths is that the Toolpath Surface Selection dialog does not display. Instead, the Toolpath dialog immediately opens and the new Model Geometry page displays. It is important to note that all of the geometry selection options are now on the Model Geometry and Toolpath control pages. The Toolpath control page consolidates options that used to be on the Toolpath type and tool containment pages. Notice that tool containment has been removed from the list of pages. The two grids on the Model Geometry page make it possible for you to set up variable stock-to-leave values on walls and floors. You can now create as many separate groups of machining geometry and avoidance geometry as you need, each with their own set of stock-to-leave values. The grid names reflect a change in terminology for Mastercam 2018 3D high-speed toolpaths. Drive has become machining, and check has become avoidance. Machining and avoidance are terms already used in other Mastercam toolpath types and are more common in the industry. Mastercam automatically creates one machining geometry group and one avoidance geometry group with no entities. When you get to this page, you start selecting geometry. In the graphics window, you will notice that the model geometry has changed to white. Display remainder is active and using the default color. So any white geometry you see has not been selected for this toolpath. The group and remainder colors display only when you are working in the Model Geometry page. If you move away from the page, the original colors assigned to the model return. Use Select Entities beneath the Machining Geometry grid to begin assigning geometry to the group. With Mastercam 2018, you can now use window selection to quickly pick solid faces, surfaces, and STL entities. The selected entities now display in your defined group color. For each group created, you pick entities, assign a group name and color, and stock-to-leave values. You can do this in any order. To create a new machining group, click Add New Group. Enter a unique name and color to easily distinguish this group from the previous group. We want to leave 0.25 inch of stock on the walls and floors of this group. Double-click in each field to enter a value. To pick the geometry for this new machining group, make sure the row is selected in the grid and click Select Entities. Use the same techniques you have already seen to pick some geometry to avoid. Now we will refine the tool motion by selecting containment boundaries. Let us backplot the toolpath to see our results. For the first machining group, Mastercam leaves no stock. For the second group, you can see that stock has been left. Mastercam 2018 is now compatible with several open platform tool libraries, Corel Plus and Machining Cloud. These applications provide access to the digital data from many suppliers of CNC cutting tools and work holding products. Using these online tool libraries, you can build your own mill and drill tool assemblies and then import them into Mastercam, saving them with a part or to a Mastercam tool library. You can use the Corel Plus step-by-step interface to create mill or drill tool assemblies, which are saved to your Corel Plus library. In Mastercam, you can import the tool assemblies using the Corel Plus Tool Importer, which is accessed from the Classic Tool Manager. The Tool Importer displays a list of assemblies you created in Corel Plus. The Tool Importer's sorting functions can be used to rearrange the assemblies by name, number, tool type, or date, making it easier to find what you need. The cloud icon to the left of the assembly name indicates the data has not been validated for completeness. You must validate the supplier's tool data before importing the tools into Mastercam. Select one or more tools to validate, or choose the top checkbox to select all tools. Clicking Validate directs the Corel Plus Tool Importer to check the geometry of the imported tool assemblies for missing or erroneous data. After validation, good data is indicated by a green check. A yellow icon is a warning for you to review and update or accept the existing data. The red X indicates an error that must be fixed before importing the tool into Mastercam. Hovering over the error icon displays a description of the issue. Tool data can be manually edited to correct or complete the missing information. For example, you can add a tool number or update the feeds and speeds, and then save this information to the assembly. Editing the projection of the tool in the assembly is easy with Mastercam's graphical interface. Clicking an assembly in the Tool Importer list prompts you to place the assembly in the graphics window. Then, rotate the assembly and use the on-screen ruler or enter values in the field to adjust the projection. Image icons appear next to the assembly items that have associated 3D models. Hovering over an icon displays the image. Once the edits are complete, you can select valid assemblies to save to your Mastercam part file or to a library. The imported assemblies appear in the upper portion of the Tool Manager. Using Machining Cloud to import tool data is a very similar process, but the assembly data is contained in zip files. Select the zip file to import, and Mastercam's Machining Cloud Tool Importer automatically extracts the data and displays it in the interface. The cloud icons indicate that the data has not been validated. As shown previously, select the drilling or milling tool assemblies that you wish to import and validate them. You can manually review or edit the tools, and then save the assemblies to a part or a tool library. Whether you choose to use Corel Plus or Machining Cloud, Mastercam's Tool Importer interface makes it quick and easy to import and save the latest milling and drilling tool data to your part or library.